But yet at ESPN, some decisions that are made, you get called in. It's like, what? It's August of '95. It's August of '95. Am I right, fellas? I mean, you
Yeah,
just never
yeah,
know. You
yeah,
come in there
yeah.
one day, you up, you down, you whatever it is.
Oh, you might get
August,
boxed.
right? Like I did. Look up February '02, my schedule, ESPN news. What the heck's going on? I mean, anyway, so but it can go your way. I had been there. I hired, and I told you guys, an ESPN2 original member, '93. I hadn't done a lot of Sports Center. I was on NHL Tonight. Norby Williamson was running, major decision maker. Calls me in August of '95 and said, Bill, we want you to do primetime. What? You want me to do primetime? And I was like, it's one of those things. Like, and what was amazing about it is that Chris Berman, legendary greatness on the air, he really took me in. I mean, you guys remember he called me the judge.
Yeah, because there was the O.J. Simpson trial was going on during this time, and there was a judge named Lance Ito,
Right.
and so he started calling you the judge, Bill
Right.
Pidto,
Right.
because it rhymed with Ito.
Right.
But you know what, Bill? So look, just as a viewer, I'm watching at home saying, yeah, my man Pidto is on my favorite show, because NFL Primetime was my favorite show.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Remember,
and then when they added you on it, I'm like, oh, this just got even better.
Well, Stan, you want to be my agent, Stan?
No, Bill, you know it's from the heart. I told you the minute I got there. I told you were my favorite guy on ESPN.
Well, I love you for saying that.
It's the truth, man. It's the truth. I mean, it's all subjective, right? Some people like some people, and some people like other people. I mean, you were my favorite guy to watch.
I love you. Anyway, the thing about Berman that I learned, look, I was like there 2 years or whatever. I mean, he just took me in, made me part of the show. That speaks volumes of what I mean. He is my. We all have our idols, so to speak. I just love him. I love him for how his approach is. I love him for his attitude. He has fun with it. He's entertaining. He's energetic. He's so quick on his feet, as you guys know. And that was an amazing experience. Tommy Jackson was great. Back in that era from 7 to 8 Eastern on a Sunday, you had to watch that show because of the technology. There wasn't any Twitter. There was no social media. There wasn't bottom line. You had to watch that show to see the full highlights. Yeah. So that was a back in that was a huge opportunity. And I look back on those 2 years very fondly. I'll tell you. It also came, as I mentioned, out of nowhere too. It's like, what? Oh man!
Well, there were a lot of other people like me saying, "Hey, I like this Pidto guy," And me and Neil have a Chris Berman story. I'll let Neil tell the story about what he meant to us, or what he means to us, I should say.
Well, first of all, this is our 32nd Stan and Neil show, Bill, and episode number 1, our guest was Chris Berman.
Right.
And he was kind enough to come on like you are right here and spend the time with us, and it really meant a lot to us because I mean he's the man. I mean, there's no, everybody's in line behind him. I don't care how good you are now or how good you were then. It's get in line behind Chris Berman. Right. And Stan and I, we came out to L.A. and we got a call, and it went to our recorder, both of us, and it was Chris Berman telling us how much he enjoyed watching us. And me and Stan were like two junior high kids running up to each other and going, "Man, hey, did you get a call from Berman? Did you get a call from Berman?" And we were so delighted and thrilled that one, that he knew who we were, and two, that he was actually watching and complimenting us.
Right. I don't know that it's superstars of that ilk carry on the way he does and being so, so eager to involve everybody. I was just, that was one of the big takeaways from my experience was how nice he was to me, unproven, young, a little bit, scared in a lot of ways. And he's just wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah. I think he took ownership not only of what he meant to ESPN on the air, but what he meant to everybody else who was on the air there. And how we all looked up to him and how important it was that he was approachable, that he was supportive, because he was the guy, and how this is 30, 40 years later, and we're still talking about the effect that had on us. And I think he was aware of that from the very beginning. Like, here are these young guys coming in who are contributing to this place that I've helped put on the map, and they're going to be the next generation of people to carry this torch. And so I have to lead. and his version of leadership is being supportive and being encouraging. I mean, you remember Tom Riley, one of the producers there. So my first few shows on the box were with Tom Riley. And so I'm walking down the hall one day, and Chris says, "Hey, Stan." And I'm just like, that's Chris Berman. He knows who I am. I've been there literally like a couple of weeks.
Right.
And I turned around and said, "Hey, Chris, how you doing, man?" He said, "Hey, nice to meet you." He said, "My guy Ryle says you can play. And if Ryle says you can play, then you can play." And I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm all right here. I'm going to get to stay."
How much that meant the world to you, didn't it?
Meant the world to me.
Right.
Like Neil said, I mean, just for him to know who I was, and
Right.
then to have actually, cared about my work or had a conversation about my work. I'm like, wow, Chris Berman's talking about me, So I mean, he's a tremendous leader, and ESPN is fortunate to have had him to be the guy because
I
of
would
what
say
he's meant
this,
to everybody else.
and I'm not going to mention names or throw anybody under the bus. That was not the case with a lot of our superstars of that era. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
They were not as welcoming. They were not as team oriented and all that other stuff. So that's to me another reason why that stood out so much to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hadn't been there hardly a week, and Boom walked into the newsroom, and he looked at me and he goes, "Hey, aloha," and boom, I'm like, damn, he knows what I am, who I am, what I'm about, and we were bonded over Hawaii from that day on, man. And we could go on and on about Boom. He's that good and is that good.
Now he lives what, half the year there, Neil, or what, or more than that?
I don't know how long. I've seen his pad one time. I took the road, got past the security guards and got down to the oceanfront property. They said, do you have the password? And I went, "What?" And they go, "That's it." And so
is that what it was? Are you serious? No. Wait, does he have one of those driveways that you run out of gas driving down the driveway, or what?
Oh yeah. You better. You there's no turning around. You got to make it to the end. It's like you said, you can check in, but you can never leave. So
does he have a mansion for real?
No, he's got a beautiful pad. Beautiful. Wow. It's not a mansion, but it's it's an estate. It's a mansion. You think about East Coast old money mansions, but it's a beautiful property, and it's right on the ocean. And I hope he's getting to enjoy it, as much as he'd like.
Absolutely.
Stan talked about being on radio. When you left ESPN, you went to Mad Dog Radio for a little bit, if I remember right, and then you went to MSG. What's that transition like when you talk about radio or television?
I got I thought about this a lot. I've always been a TV guy, and I look at us as sprinters, whereas radio guys are marathon runners, and it's a very difficult transition. I think it's a lot easier to go from radio to TV. I was just not, when we do what we do, we're very concise. We have to be quick. We can't be long-winded. We have to hit the count, please. Radio.
Dock the boat.
Right. Dock the boat. It wasn't my forte. It was an amazing experience. I worked with Bruce Murray. I was an original member of Mad Dog Radio. It came at a time when I really needed a job. But this 10-2, I'm not a hot take guy, and I don't care about debating whether I'll take Michael Jordan over LeBron James. It's just not my thing. Not my thing. It was a great experience. I have so much respect for these guys who are able to fill this time, especially when they're solo. I found it very, very difficult and not necessarily my strength. In fact, the most anxious I've been is when I had to solo host 10-2 if Bruce was off or something. I mean, man, you don't have any calls or whatever. What the heck are you supposed to do? I mean,
4 hours of talking, yeah.
Oh, my God. So the guys that do this, that you have no idea how hard it is. That's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, if you're a person who has a lot of opinions about a lot of different things, if you can get into, the middle relief, for the Rangers, I mean, like, or.
But now you gotta have a stance. Like, you got to have a stance now.
Yeah.
You can't go out there.
A part of the problem with this is that nobody can be an expert on that many things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like to really have, credibility, because like one of the things I would always tell people about like doing highlights, like if I got a Vancouver Canucks Ottawa Senators highlight, okay? Now I can tell you, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the Vancouver Canucks or the Ottawa Senators, okay? But there's somebody
get through it. Get through it.
No, but I'm saying there's somebody watching with those two Canadian teams, so maybe that's a bad example. Minnesota Wild and the Carolina Hurricanes, okay?
Right.
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about them. At least now I do more because they're FanDuel teams. But anyway, I didn't then, okay? But there's somebody watching who feels about those teams or that one of those teams the way I feel about the Saints. Right. Okay. And if I'm watching a guy and he doesn't do a good job in the Saints highlight, or he messes up names, or doesn't seem like he cares, I'm personally offended by that because that's my team. So you got to treat everybody's team with absolute respect. Now, being able to do that for 4 hours, it's a lot.
Yeah, I was, we all have our strengths. That was not my, I don't know what you guys think about the transition, if you ever done it. I think it's a lot easier to have to maybe concise your delivery as opposed to expand it. I don't know.
We did it during COVID. But we only did it for a month on ESPN Radio during COVID.
And how did you find, was it, well, you guys were together though, right? You guys do your show together? I don't know.
Well, we were in separate.
Right.
What'd you think of it, Neil?
Well, I thought it worked well because I told you you're leading, I'm following, because much of what, to Bill's point, I mean, I got approached by national radio after I left ESPN, and I'm like, oh God, no, I don't want to. I can't talk that much, And radio will expose you for what you don't know. And I didn't. I was smart enough to say, I'm in 100%. I'm right. I'm walking right next to you, Bill. I was like, I want no part of that. The TV it's fly by the seat of your pants. Let's go. Where the radio was going to be, oh my God, I couldn't imagine doing 2, 3, 4 hours, 5 days a week talking about what. And plus it meant you had to watch every goddamn thing there was out there to talk about it the next day. It was like, this isn't a 4-hour gig. This is a 24-hour gig.
Yeah.
I just think there's like different lanes. Like a lot of radio guys can't do what we do. Play-by-play guys can't necessarily do what we do. And we're not always that great calling games or doing talk radio. I think it's really interesting how they're different, in my opinion, different lanes for different skill sets for sure.
Which brings us to Mike Tirico. I want to get your thoughts on that. I mean, how good has he been?
Well, you guys think he had a prompter there for the close or not?
I don't think he did.
I haven't seen the whole close to be able to know. I could tell there was one thing that he did that stuck out to me where I said he didn't write that because he's a better writer than that.
In his monologue, closing monologue?
No, it was something in the studio. It was something in the studio. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remembered listening to it saying somebody else wrote that. So maybe there was a prompter. Maybe a producer wrote something for him.
He is rightfully, guys, getting a huge amount of credit for his closing comments after the Olympic gold. I don't know if you guys caught that at all, but it was really uplifting. Follow your dreams, all of these, and that was, to me, as we all know, in that spot, having to hit it, however he did it, whether he had a script there or not,
right?
Taking account to the end of the show, the meaning of his words. I just thought it was fantastic. Marv Albert was quoted as saying, there are only 2 people on this planet that could have done it, and one of those is Tirico, the other is Bob Costas.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of similarities there, but I think like doing the Super Bowl, okay, the Super Bowl, okay, and then getting on a plane and flying to another continent to host the Olympics. I mean, that's a crowning achievement that very few of us in this business get to even approach. Either one of them. But to do both of them on consecutive days and nail both of them just says a lot about his talent and his ability.
And he's a massive talent. What's interesting is that he left ESPN. He's relatively, not an old guy, but he's 59. So it's taken him, he probably deserved a lot of this credit a while back, but he just hasn't had the stage. And, he deserves to be on the stage because he's, to me in the studio, I don't know what you guys think. I think he's one of one. He's just a fantastic studio host. Fantastic.
Absolutely. He deserves all the praise. But like that's how it is sometimes. Sometimes it happens for people just right off the bat, and then other times it takes people. I think we all saw it. we all saw it because we do it.
Right.
And you look at his work and you say, wow, man, that guy is nailing this. And then it just becomes, can he do the same thing when the stage gets massive?
Right.
Because
But,
he's nailed everything he's done. And
but in terms of hosting like a prime time, I don't know that, like, everybody's got a different specialty, right? Like,
Yep.
I don't know that I want Berman in that host role for the Olympics, but I don't know that I want Tirico hosting NFL primetime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know exactly
And that's not to denigrate either of those guys. Everybody's got a different, strength.